Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
That's right. Emilie Davis joining us here again, the founder and lead nutritionist at Whole Essentials Nutrition, based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, but helping people all over. Go to wholeessentialsnutrition.com. And we're excited to have our friend back with us today to talk more about her programs, her coaching, and of course, the gut, how it can help you. And I heard something about an audit, possibly. What?
It's morning still for me, but I think it's afternoon where you are. But yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for today. I know we're going to have a good conversation as always. Give us a little taste of today.
Yeah, I thought I would talk a little bit about, whatever we're calling it, an audit or a quiz, a way for people to assess where they're at, if they're having some of what I consider to be kind of classic symptoms that are tied to the gut, and just get an idea, like I say, of where they're at as far as their gut health goes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that.
All right, let's do it then because there's a lot that we don't know. I know a lot of people suffer with gut issues, whether they know it or not, and it's one of the biggest problems. I've got to know you very well the past few weeks, and I think you mentioned all the tests, right? It's always something. Something always comes up in someone's.
Always.
Yep. All right, where do we
Even,
begin for today?
yeah, it's so good question. And it's a good lead in too, that whether, people often have issues with their gut, even if they don't realize it. Because when I say gut health, I think a lot of listeners and a lot of people think digestive issues, and it is absolutely that. It
Hmm.
is the, gas and bloating after meals, or maybe it happens all day.
Yeah.
It is the acid reflux and heartburn. It's the irregular bowel movements, right? I mean, it is absolutely those things, but it doesn't have to be just those things.
Yep.
So, um, for example, like when someone, I mean, I just got out of a business meeting where someone was talking to me about some eczema that they have on their face. Kind of came out of nowhere, and he went to the dermatologist and got a prescription. And in my brain, right, like all of these like red flags are going off, because eczema, psoriasis, chronic acne. There's, other maybe less well-known things like folliculitis. And I'm just trying to think of all the things that I've cleared up for clients. Anyway, a couple other things, but those things that I mentioned are pretty common for people, those skin issues, and people don't think of it as being a gut issue. They go to their dermatologist, they want an antibiotic or a steroid, and that's typically what's prescribed, but it's not getting at the heart of things. So that's one, for example. Um, and I can't remember if I've shared this, so I will, but stop me if I have already. I mean, I cured my own chronic acne by doing a stool test and looking at the gut. I'd been to dermatologists for years. And, once I went through nutrition school, I knew enough about being leery of taking too many antibiotics. And so
Hmm.
when that was the only thing that they knew to do, I politely declined and didn't really go back to a dermatologist. I started working with some other like naturopathic doctors, etc. But still, no one was saying maybe it's in your gut, right? Like, and so it finally dawned on me to do a stool test on myself, and sure enough, I found some things that were at the heart of the acne. And no one else was thinking about that. So from that experience, that the skin connection, the gut skin connection, I always like hear that when people are talking about their psoriasis or their eczema, especially when it doesn't go away, right?
Yep.
It's maybe, someone can get away with like a topical or that medication, and
Yep.
it does the trick, maybe.
Maybe.
But if someone's having any of those issues, in a chronic nature and nothing's working, it's likely in the gut.
Got it.
So that's one, right?
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
just one example of something that most people never think is connected. So
Interesting.
that's, yeah, in my, like, if this, and I'll give a couple other examples, but we started off talking. I have a quiz. I have a gut health quiz on my website, and you can take it, and 7 questions, so super quick and easy, and just gives you a really quick, hopefully, assessment of where you're at. Um, Nothing clinical, obviously, but again, just points out some areas where you might be experiencing gut health issues.
A lot of us are. Okay, hold on. What are some of these the quiz questions? Could I get one or two?
Yeah,
Could you film what are some of
yeah,
the most common that we fail?
yeah. So, I mean, for sticking with the skin for just a second, so
Okay.
one of the questions is, do you have skin conditions like rosacea, eczema, acne, rashes? So just really simply, like, do you have any of those?
Hmm.
I mentioned digestive stuff, which again, like people always think about. So yeah, one of the questions is, do you have gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, or heartburn? And again, like it's the chronic nature of something. So part of that question is, do you have any of those things at least once or more every week? So the occasional, any of those things, right? The occasional like bloating, or the occasional constipation, even loose stools, normal, right? I mean, there's going to be reasons why we all might experience that from time to time, but it really is um, the chronic nature of it. So, is it happening at least once a week? So, that's one question. Another question: do you have multiple food sensitivities or food allergies, such as gluten or dairy, but could be many, many other foods? Um, and what I now know about food sensitivities, allergies, intolerances, etc., um, is that is more often tied to the gut. So it has a lot more to do with your gut health than it does the actual food itself, if that makes sense.
No, it does. All right. Wow. Well, I mean, it's, gosh, do you believe in, hold on, when you're like a full cleanse, do you offer like a day of like just liquids? Has that helped anyone reset their system?
It's a good question. To be honest, I'm trying to think if there's ever been anyone that I've recommended that for, and I don't think there is.
Okay.
Might there be someone in circumstances where that's warranted? Maybe. Um, I personally really like the information that I get from this stool test, because I know, I can see and I know exactly what's going on. Um, and tailor my treatments and my recommendations to that.
Okay.
And most of the time, I I don't feel like, I don't know, like the cleanse kind of approach is necessary or warranted.
Hmm.
If someone's in a really kind of sensitive place digestively, so a lot of inflammation, not tolerating a lot of foods, having a lot of symptoms, there I'm usually having to pare things back quite a bit, but there's also some really targeted foods and nutrients that I'm making sure that they get and are included, to help reset, if you will. I think that's what you're asking.
Reset, reset. Okay, good. All right. Just a
Yeah,
question. Just a question.
yeah, yeah. No, it is. It's a good question, and there are a lot of practitioners out there who like sell a product, like a juice cleanse or something. Parasite cleanses are really popular right now for some reason. So really, there are practitioners out there who believe in them and who might convince people otherwise. But I personally, um, think we can approach things a different way is how I would say it.
All right. All right. All right. What else?
Good, good question. So yeah, another really big piece. Again, a lot of people don't think about another question on the quiz. Have you been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease? So there's a really strong connection between gut health and autoimmune disease. And the one thing that
Well,
they found in research that all people with autoimmune disease have is leaky gut.
really?
Yes.
Ah,
Yep. The one thing that they all have. So, and I can't remember how much we've talked about leaky gut. We could certainly, take a
refresh.
right turn and
Hmm.
yeah, talk about it for just a minute. Because yeah, I think it's significant. And I will just tell you too, from personal experience, I think I've had 4 of these stool tests on myself over the years. Big believer in them, obviously, but the first 3 never had leaky gut, like almost zero signs of it. I've recently been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and the stool test right before I started having symptoms, leaky gut.
Interesting.
I mean, it is. It's very interesting. And so leaky gut, for those either who have heard about it,
Yeah,
or never heard about it, or, not too familiar, I'll just hopefully simply explain. It is best with the visual, but I'll try to explain that it's exactly, hopefully, like it sounds, which is like the gut. What it means is the gut lining, which is not meant to have things pass through other than like through the digestive tract, is now leaking into what's on the other side, which is our bloodstream. So food particles are leaking through, any medications or over the counter drugs, or any of all the, quote unquote toxins that we come in contact with water and food and, just kind of our environment. Any and all of those things can be leaking through from the digestive tract
okay.
into the bloodstream. That's what's happening. Um, and hopefully that, I mean, it's not how it's supposed to happen. So hopefully, like, that makes sense, that like that's where those food sensitivities come in. When someone comes to me having been maybe referred by their doctor because they did a food sensitivity panel and it's all over the place, and they're both overwhelmed, right? So they send them to the nutritionist. And I know that it, again, has more to do with the gut. They likely have leaky gut
Got it.
versus the food. So if we only address the food, we're not getting at the heart of the problem.
Mm.
So, and I think it's come back probably every single time I've come across one of those clients that they have leaky gut. So in the same way with like autoimmune disease, a leaky gut, it's triggering our immune system. That is so, right, like the food particles that leak through into the bloodstream, or the particles of a medication, et cetera, when they hit the bloodstream, our immune system is activated and triggered because they're finding things in the blood that are not meant to be there. It's treating them as a foreign object, which is what our immune system is meant to do.
Got it.
So, but it's that, like if someone has leaky gut and it's been going on for years or something, again, it's like that chronic nature of things that like your immune system is constantly being triggered, and that causes inflammation. That causes, yeah, I mean, just your immune system to overreact. So hopefully that helps. For those, again, that, might have heard of leaky gut, but
Not sure what
aren't
it was.
sure.
I
Yeah.
one of them. Yep.
I mean, I had a client just the other day as I was explaining, because he had leaky gut on his stool test. He's like, does that mean like stool is leaking through like your anus? And I'm like, good question. No,
Hmm.
that's not what's
No.
happening.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's further up the chain. So yeah. And yeah, in studies, like I say, the one thing all autoimmune disease has in common is leaky gut. It's one of like the kind of first things that triggers an autoimmune disease. So
Interesting.
those that have autoimmune disease in their family, maybe you're having some symptoms, have already been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, looking at the gut to, see if that's an issue, can help. If you've already been diagnosed with something, it's going to help you manage it much better.
Got it.
So we're not curing autoimmune disease, not yet anyway, but we can definitely help people feel better.
Awesome. You know what? Got to remind everyone how we can reach you. Would you mind sharing?
Yeah, the best place to connect with me is through my website, wholeessentialsnutrition.com. There's a link to schedule a free 15-minute discovery call with me. Um, yeah, that's the best place to connect
And take the quiz or the
and take the quiz.
assessment or the
Yes, the audit, whatever we're
That's it.
calling
That's the word. Yes. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. All
Yep,
right.
the link for the quiz is there. Some more information on gut health. Yeah.
And you've been doing this for quite some time. Just a little bit of your background for those that may not know about, how you got here and all these, programs and coaching that you do to help.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been in private practice for 6 years. I've been exclusively doing gut health and nutrition for 4. And I came into this on my own health journey, had something that conventional medicine wasn't able to do much with, and luckily kind of found, again, whatever word we want to use, or people like holistic medicine, functional medicine, alternative, but all of these things that can, again, like really make a difference for people, I think, both with prevention and management. So that's how I found my way into holistic medicine and becoming a nutritionist. And for me, the nutrition and the gut health, I don't know if it makes sense to other people. It does to me, but like to explain, I guess, like why I've gone into gut health after getting my degree in nutrition. To me, they both are the foundation that so many other things are like built upon. And I also think they're two of the things that, I started talking about, like people don't think about gut health when they've got acne. People don't think about gut health when they're diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. Similarly with nutrition, not very many um, doctors, healthcare practitioners are even talking about nutrition with people, which, yeah, it just, those two things are so foundational to me. So, as I am working with people on gut health, my 6-month coaching program, so Gut Restore, we start with that stool test, and it's 6 months of both treating the gut, but I can't treat the gut and help leave someone better off than I found them if I'm not also teaching them how to eat and manage some, key pieces in their lifestyle, et cetera. So for me, like the two just go hand in hand. In other words, like you're not going to like take a probiotic and like get out of, whatever issues you might be having with your gut.
Got it.
It's really, how do I want to say, like there's so many pieces to it, and it's so much more than that. And at the heart of it is really like feeding yourself, feeding your body well.
You did
So
a blog on that the other day about what your poop says about your gut health, right?
yes, I did. Yes, there's that on the website too. Yeah, I mean, so I do not shy away from talking about poop. It's why I start with the stool test. Um, it tells me so much about someone. And so yeah, if you're interested in that, the blog is there, but simply, yeah, your poop, your bowel movements on a daily basis really should kind of look a certain way. And so there's a lot more information on the blog about that.
Yep, and pictures to show because I was curious myself,
Yes.
which I love. The watery stool, the poopy nugget looking stool. Yes, good, good, good.
Yes.
But and
Neither of those are healthy. Yep.
interesting.
You
Oh
bet. And
my
I,
goodness. How to add more hydration to our stool, right? You were talking about that.
yes,
All right.
yes. Yeah. So again, like gut health and nutrition, right? It's not, let's say someone's having like constipation, those little nuggets, like that's constipation. If that's what your bowel movement looks like, little pebbles, that's constipation. So, excuse me, you're not gonna, again, like take a probiotic or even like take a laxative or something and like get rid of this. So it's lifestyle, diet changes, and also there's probably something else going on in your gut. So yeah, it's, a great place for people to just kind of be aware those bowel movements, that poop.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And we still have some time left here on the show, Emily. What else did you want to share with us for today?
Yeah, I'm going to highlight maybe, depending on how much time we've got, I'll go through just one other question on the quiz.
Sure.
Because I get this question a lot too from people. Um, so one, weight, and I've worked with people that both need to gain weight and or want to lose weight. It goes both ways. So one of the questions on the quiz, have you gained or lost weight unintentionally over a short period of time? Um, that usually is an indicator, right, that something is off. That is not, in that case, when someone is gaining or losing, again, unintentionally over a short period of time, like there's something else that's wrong. Um, Similarly, though, someone who's either lost weight or gained weight that like can't quite, maintain either way, still, looking at gut health is helpful. And what I tell most people is like when we are addressing their health from a functional place, looking at hormones potentially and gut health and, diet, not just calories in, calories out kind of a thing. The weight follows, right? Like it's a happy consequence of getting your body in balance. So yeah, I get a lot of questions about that. And a lot of my clients, again, like I probably help as many people gain as I do lose. Both can be an indicator of something that's off. Oftentimes it's the gut, could be more than that. And again, it's why I start where I do with the gut. Like, might we need to look at someone's hormones? Maybe, but I start with the gut, I start with the diet. And it's oftentimes like an onion, like, kind of peeling back layers and working through things with some clients. But I always start there because there's always something to work on. And because again, I think it's so foundational to everything else we're doing.
And yeah, summer's here. Is our gut different like in the heat, if you're warmer weather compared to things we have to do differently in the winter? Just curious question.
That's a great question. That's a great question. It is a little bit. It is because the foods that we consume in either season are going to be a little bit different. The amount of like exposure, so to speak, that we get in both seasons and climates is going to be different. In other words, like we are exposed to bacteria in our environment. So when it's winter and people tend to stay indoors more and they're not out as much, they're not, right, like weeding in their garden or swimming in a lake, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So both like our exposure to bacteria uh, decreases, which means it's that much more important to like get it in our diet and other places. But yeah, like temperature change and seasons can definitely impact our gut. That's a great question.
All right,
I don't know that
interesting.
anyone's ever asked me that before, but yes.
All right. I was just thinking, I'm like, all right.
Yes.
It's hot here in New York today. That's why it's like 85 degrees out of
Oh
nowhere.
gosh.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So I was like, I turned the AC on, looked at the refrigerator. I'm like, I need more water, but what else should I be doing today?
Yeah, that really, I don't think anyone's ever asked me that, but it is very true.
All
Yeah.
right.
So from hydration to, again, like thinking about where we're getting the good bacteria in times of, just decreased exposure, it's going to be really important.
All right.
Yeah.
If we want to reach out to you, would you mind sharing how again, please?
I would love to hear from anyone. Reach out to wholeessentialsnutrition.com, and there's a link there to schedule a free 15-minute discovery call. We can talk about what's going on for you and if my Gut Restore program is a good fit.
All right. Well, we know how to do that, and we can take that quiz if we go to the website too.
Yes, take the quiz. Really just 7 questions. I think we went through maybe 4 or 5 of them today. So yeah, take the quiz, couple more questions, and then I give you just a really quick kind of reading, so to speak, on where you're at.
All right. Thank you so much. And we'll look forward to next week's conversation again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hope the weather's
Thank
nice where you are. What is
you.
it like in Utah right now?
Sunny and a little cooler. It's like 7. It's perfect today. 70 and sunny.
Well, go enjoy your day. Thank you so much for being here as
Thank
always.
you.
We'll talk soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.